So let's try this part. This is page number 99. So we did some of the questions from this, but now we are basically able to do all of them. So let's select the relevant question. Yeah. So we are going to try question number 7. I'll give you guys a few minutes to read it and try to think of it, whatever you think, and then I'll solve it. Okay? So I'll solve it. You don't have to solve it. Just read it and try to understand it. So the question here talks about that we have to find out the number of moles of MnO2 used, and number of moles of HCl needed, and volume of HCl. Okay, so that's the question. Because, they're basically asking us to do. So let's try and solve this. So first is the equation is here, and I'm provided with volume of this much HCl that is needed to react with this much MnO. Nice. So I'm basically having 3.48 grams of MnO. So they want me to find out the volume of HCl. Okay. Now, first thing is, what's this? This is mass. Is that correct? So can I use this mass to figure out moles? But that won't be moles of HCl. That would be moles of MnO. So let's find this out. So any formula that helps us to find out moles if mass is given? Do we have a formula for that? Yeah, I have answered in the chat box. That is mass over MR. That's nice. So mass is 3.48. Thank you, Bushra. MnO2 MR. Now we have to find out the MR of Mn. So manganese is 55. That comes from periodic table. Oxygen is 16. So MnO2 will be 55 plus each oxygen is 16, but I'm having two oxygen. So let's do 16 times 2. That is 32. So what do we get if we add them up? So that's 55 plus 32. We have 87, right? So if we divide both of these, what do we get? 3.48 divided by 87. So that's 0.04 moles. So is this understood? All of you guys?
Yes, sir.
That's nice. That's really good. Now, this is moles of HCl needed. Now, since I have 8.00 moles per liter HCl, but I don't have volume, so what do? I cannot use this information to find out moles of HCl. How do I figure that out? So for that, I can look at my equation. It says MnO2 is reacting with 4 moles of HCl. That means MnO2 and HCl, they have a ratio of, for every 1 mole of MnO2, I'm having 4 moles of HCl, right? According to the equation. So I just calculated the number of moles of MnO2. That's 0.04. And I have to find out the number of moles of HCl. Let's assume that to be X. So now we can cross multiply it. So that would be X is equals to 4 times 0.04, which would now become 0.16 moles. So do you guys get this part?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Then we have moles of HCl. Oh, sorry, volume of HCl. Now I can use this information, which I, kind of discarded previously. So I can use this as C, and I have N as well, right? And I just calculated 0.16. So is there any formula which relates C, N, and V? So we just did that. That was N is equals to C times V, right? So N is 0.16, C is 8, and V is unknown. So let's figure out V. That would be 0.16 divided by 8. That's 0.02 liters. But the answer they require us to give is in cubic centimeters. So what do? We have to multiply it with 1000. 2.02 times 1000, this becomes 20. So yeah, Bushra, this is basically concentration. In the last class, I think we kind of did concentration. That was C. So I'll share the recording. You can go through it. Basically, C represents, just for your information, concentration. Concentration expresses how we are basically dealing with any kind of a mixture. When we make something like, sugar solution, when we make something like juice, when we make something like tea, so how much substance you added in what volume? For example, if you added 1 grams of sugar in water, so basically you're talking about 1 grams of sugar, and then you have to also calculate the, understand the volume of water. So it may be 100 liters, 1 liter, 1 cup of water, 1 glass of water. So that is concentration. That's just to help you up to come up, with us at this pace. But the original concept is discussed in the previous class, and that's in the recording. I'll share the link, and you'll get, you can watch that. Okay. And if you find anything difficult in that, I'll help you again in that. No worries. So is everyone, understanding what we did? Hassan, I think, is not right now replying. Are you with us, Hassan? Good job. So let's try another question. Yeah, let's try this question. Question. And I'll wait for a few minutes before you guys decide to, how would we solve this, and then we'll actually solve it together. How do we go about it? So we can start up with the basic understanding here that says, okay, that's fine. Okay, Pusha, okay, that's a valid question. See, when you're provided with, volume and they want us to find out number of moles, that's when you use it. But when you're provided with concentration, then you use a different formula. That's see, even in this question, they have given us concentration. So basically, we are going to use this. That is it. Simply put. Okay. Now the question talks about, primarily speaking, that we have somewhat like uh, 50 cubic centimeter of one of the substances. That's HCl, that's volume, and that's concentration. So they want us to find out moles of HCl. So the formula was N is equals to C times V. C is given, which is 0.500. V is given, that's 50. But the problem is, C is given in cubic decimeter and V is given in cubic centimeter. So that's a mismatch. So this should be converted into cubic decimeter. So we can do 50 divided by 1000. That converts cubic centimeter into cubic decimeter. Now we can just solve this up. So this would be 0.5 times 5 divided by 100. So we have 0.025 moles as the reaction. Number of moles. Reduce the number of moles of carbon dioxide gas made in this test. Now they want us to find out moles of carbon dioxide. So we have just calculated the moles of HCl. They want us to find out the moles of carbon dioxide. So for HCl, according to the equation, we see 2 moles providing or producing 1 mole. And how many moles we have? We have 0.025 moles. And this is going to produce X moles. So if we cross multiply it, so that would be 2x is equals to 0.025, or X is equals to 0.025 divided by 2. This is 0.0125. Do you guys get this part?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no problem. Let's do it all the way again. So we have number of moles of HCl, right? That is what we just calculated. That was 0.025, right? They wanted us to find out the moles of carbon dioxide. So for that to happen, I went to see this equation and I figured out only HCl and CO2. So HCl and CO2 are related as, I see 2 moles of HCl. So I wrote 2 moles here. And here I don't see anything. So I'm writing here 1 mole. How many moles of HCl we just figured out in part A? That was 0.025. I assumed this to be X moles. Then I cross multiplied and then I solved it, get my answer. Is this now understand? And is this now clear? That's fine. What about you, Anmol?
Yes, sir.
Is this understood now?
Yes, sir.
That's nice. Now, in the next part, it says to find out the mass of carbon dioxide. I can just bring that up. Yeah, so it says to find out the mass of carbon dioxide in part C. So moles we just calculated was 0.0125. So is there any formula which I can use to find out mass if I am having moles? So the formula is very simple. That is mass over MR. Number of moles is 0.0125. Mass is unknown. For carbon dioxide, that's CO2, carbon is 12, oxygen, each is 16, but we see 2 oxygen, so that's 32. So the sum total would be 44. That means this is 44. So mass would be 0.0125 times 44. So what do we have? We have 0.55 moles. Sorry, grams. Do you guys get this?
Yes, sir.
All of you? That's nice. Let's move to another question. Okay, then it also asks us to find out, calculate the volume in cubic decimeter. So we just have figured out the moles. So how do we figure out volume? So now the original formula comes at play. That was volume upon 24. So if number of moles of carbon dioxide was 0.0125, that's 24. We just have to multiply it. So volume comes out to be 3 liters. You get this? Is this understood?
Yes, sir.
Now let's move on. So would you be able to try this by yourself? Question 9. I'll give you the MRs so you don't feel anything that's difficult. And I'll wait for you guys to answer it in the chat box. Okay. So for lead, we have Ar207, nitrogen is 14, oxygen is 16. So you have to do part A, B1, and B2. I'll go. I have answered. Lead nitrate is this thing. That S represents solid state, G represents gas state. I have one of the answers. Lead is Pb, then nitrogen here. The formula is it's like this. NO3, and outside here you see 2. So basically lead is 1, N is 2, O is 6, because this 2 is multiplied with both of them. So that's 207 plus nitrogen each is 14. So 2 nitrogen means it is going to be 28. Then there are 6 oxygen atoms, each is 16. 16 times 6 is 96. So then we can add them up. So we are going to get 96 plus 28 plus 207. So the answer is 331. Do you guys get this part? Now what they've
Yes,
given us is,
sir.
they said 6.62 grams of lead nitrate, that is 6.62 grams of PbNO3. And then they want us to find out the mass of lead oxide. They want us to find out the mass of lead oxide. Yes. They're interested in the mass of this. How would we go about it? So basically, it's very simple. Are you guys trying or shall I solve it? Yeah. So yes, Hassan, you can use this. I'll wait for 2, 3 minutes. Bushra, don't worry, I'll solve it. Let's start. Okay, so now I'll start solving this and we'll see that if we have any correct answers. So basically, we have 6.62 grams of lead nitrate. If we divide this with 331, then we would be able to find out number of moles, right? So let's divide it. 6.62 divided by 331. This is going to be 0.02 moles. But they're basically asking about mass of lead oxide. So this is lead oxide. So according to the equation, what I see here is lead nitrate and lead oxide both have 2 moles, right? That
Yes.
means if I'm having 0.02 moles of this, I'll have X moles, then I can cross multiply, and simply I'll get X as 0.02. Now, since I'm having moles of lead oxide, I can again use this formula to figure out mass. That's 0.02. Mass is unknown for Mr. Lead oxide is going to be. So let's do this. PbO. Pb was 207, oxygen is 16. We add this up, 207 plus 16, that's 223. So if we multiply 223 with 0.02, we are going to get mass, which comes out to be 4.46. You guys get this? Is this understood? That's nice, Bushra. Great job. What about you, Hassan and Anmol?
Yes, sir.
Is this understood? Let's try part two. It says calculate the volume of oxygen produced at room temperature. So for that, we need to relate lead nitrate with oxygen. So let's see if we have lead nitrate with us. So actually, we have lead nitrate with us. That's PbNO3 and oxygen. So it's like for every 2 moles, we are having 1 mole of oxygen. According to the equation, we see 2 here, and then according to the equation, we see 1 here. So for 0.02 moles, we are going to find X. So let's do 2x is equals to 0.02, x would be equals to 0.02 divided by 2, which is 0.01 mole. But they were not asking us about moles, they were asking us about volume. So now we can use this formula. We have 0.01 moles volume over 24. So volume would be 0.01 times 24. So that would be 0.24 liters. Do you guys get this? That's nice. Good job, Hassan. You can do it directly, but I always prefer to, kind of prefer to solve moles first. Let's try question 10. This is sodium nitrate. Sodium is 23, nitrogen is 14, oxygen is 16. This is sodium nitrite. Yeah. One is nitrate and the other one is nitrite. Yes, and more, you have to solve it. I'm waiting for you guys to give me an answer. Hassan, let me see. I'm waiting for the other two students. So once they are done, I'll solve it all together. But if you are not even sure, you can proceed with the other parts as well. Okay, so now I have a few answers. I can now start to solve this. Let's see what it says. It says, first of all, 3.40 grams of NaNO3 is heated. We have to find out moles. So let's first find out MR. NaNO3. O3 means oxygen is 3 times. So 48 plus 23 plus 14, that comes out to be 85. Then we have to find out moles. So we can use the formula mass over MR, 3.40 over 85. So 0.004. So is this understood to all of you guys?
Yes, sir.
We have the same answers. Then it says number of moles of oxygen formed. So we have to see where is oxygen. There it is. So we see 2 and 1, right? We see 2 with sodium nitrate, so I wrote 2 here. We see 1 with oxygen, so I wrote 1 here. So for 0.04 moles, that is going to be X, right? So let's cross multiply. 2x is equals to 0.04. X is equals to 0.04 divided by 2. So that is going to be 0.02, right? Then they say volume of oxygen formed. So that would be number of moles is equals to volume upon 24. So we have already calculated number of moles, that's 0.02. Volume is unknown, that's 24. So 24 times this value is going to be the volume. Let's divide it with 2. Multiply it with 24. So we have 0.48 as the answer. So is this understood? That's nice, isn't it? Good job. Any doubts, any questions, any problems, any confusion?
No, sir.
That's wonderful. No worries. This is kind of a different topic, so it takes time. So let's stop it till here. Okay, and then we'll continue with the same topic in the next topic. Take care. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.